The movie starts with Lena teaching a class about the structure of a tumor cell and how it divides in the human body. She informs them that they will examine cancer cells in vitro throughout the next term. And later, after her class has ended, Professor Lena heads with a cup of coffee and gets called out by one of her students. Professor Dan follows behind her, he calls her out and he asks her to join him and Sarah on Saturday, and she dismisses him by telling him that she already has plans. Later that evening, Lena sits in her living room mourning her husband's loss, and she starts painting her room to forget the pain. And when Lena hears some noises and turns around, she finds her dead husband standing right there. Crying in excitement, Lena engulfs him in a very tight hug. And Lena feels that there's something different about him when she tries to kiss him. And late at night, Lena is standing by the counter and he's just sitting down. And when Lena asks him where he was, what he was doing, all he could say is, "I don't know." And when he drinks from a glass, it fills with blood. So she decides to take him to the hospital, and in the ambulance, Kane was having a seizure. And while Lena was screaming at the nurses to do something, they get stopped by a bunch of soldiers. And Lena screams at them to leave him alone, but they inject her with something and she falls unconscious, and Kane is left there to just die. And when she comes to, she finds herself in a room and she's dressed as a prisoner. Not feeling too good, Lena rushes to the bathroom, and upon leaving, Lena meets with an elegant-looking woman who claims to be a psychologist. And Ventress interrogates Lena about herself and her husband, but Lena has no answers for her. And she asks if she can see her lawyer, but she's told that she can't see a lawyer. And Lena asks Ventress about Kane, and she tells her that he is there, but he is dying. And when she asks if she knew what he was doing before this, and if she can help him, Ventress takes Lena through the facility, and they're now in this unknown area. And in this area, in this facility, there's this crystal-looking cloud that covered the entire area. And Ventress explains to Lena that it was caused by a religious event and that it happened 3 years ago. Ventress also explains that since then, they have had animals, soldiers, and a lot of other things just coming back. And the area keeps growing to cover cities, states, and so on. And later that day, Ventress and Lena stand by the glass door of the room that Kane was kept. Lena begs not to be sent back home so she can stay with him, and in the next scene, we see Lena's memories of her husband and them just lying in bed and enjoying each other's company. And in this memory, Lena asks Kane where he is headed, but he doesn't answer that question and instead just distracts her by kissing her. And it was later in the night, when Lena was standing by herself, one of the girls from a group meets her and they ask her to join them. Anya introduces her to Cassie and Josie, and she joins their table. They offer her some beer, and she learns that their profession is actually science, as in all of these women are scientists. They had a bet about her, and when she tells them that she's a biologist, Josie wins the bet. And they tell her that they're heading into the Shimmer as an all-girl scientists group, as the previous team was military. And Anya tells her the two possibilities of what could go wrong there. Either someone kills them, or they go crazy and they kill each other. And as they speak about her husband that made it out, she remains silent and pretends not to know about it. And later that night, Lena visits Kane and promises him that she will finish what she started. And Lena wants to know why Ventress is going there, and she's told that it's about time she stops watching it grow. And the paramedics are now interrogating Lena, and they find it difficult as to why Lena requested to join the team in the Shimmer so that she could repay her husband. And a few days later, as they were all dressed up and ready to enter the Shimmer, Ventress enters first, and they follow suit. In a beautiful forest, Lena wakes up from a weird erotic dream, and she gets out of her camp and finds her team members, and Lena's confused as they all confirm that they don't remember anything after they reach the place. Cassie concludes that they've been there for about 3 to 4 days, and Josie then informs them that they have no compass, no comms, no coordination, so they have to navigate by themselves using nature. And Lena starts investigating the unusual mutation of the flowers, and all of the girls spread around the place to investigate some more. And a few minutes later, Josie comes out of the hut to tell them that it's an abandoned place, but she gets pulled inside. And Lena runs inside and jumps inside the water to save her, and Cassie and Anya follow behind, and they manage to pull her out. And upon realizing that something is in the water, they point their gun and wait. And as the alligator got close to them, they found it difficult to shoot and they run away, but Lena takes the lead and she shoots it to death. And after, Anya holds the alligator's mouth open for Lena to investigate it, and she explains that it's not normal. And Lena informs the paramedics that the mutations were subtle at first, but more extreme as they got closer to the lighthouse. And the man asks if it was possible for it to be a hallucination, and she replies that it was more dreamlike. And Lena then says that it has not always been like that, and that sometimes it was beautiful. And Cassie and Lena paddle into the waters, and Cassie asks Lena how she learned to shoot. And Lena tells her that she served in the army for about 7 years, and that's where she met her husband. And Cassie tells Lena that everybody here has a lot of problems. For example, Anya is an addict, Josie wears long sleeves because she covers up her scars, and Ventress has no family. And soon, they reach the hall where the other team resided, and looking through more mutations, they all head inside. And there, they find a list of names of the last volunteers, a map, and Ventress finds a memory card. And thinking it was clue for them, Josie plays it on her camera and they see something disturbing. And what they saw was a video of Kane from his team cutting open one of the guy's stomachs. Anya and Cassie argue because Cassie suggests that seeing the video again is probably helpful because there are probably hidden clues there, but Anya doesn't really want to watch that video again. And moments later, Ventress heads into the other side and they all follow her to a place where they find bodies stuck on a wall by a mutation. And Josie finds the knife that they used in the video and she begs them not to stay there for the night. And later at night, Lena wakes up from a dream of the day that Kane left to the Shimmer. And in the middle of the night, Lena starts looking through her microscope for some answers, and Cassie wakes up and they talk about how freaked out Josie is. And then Lena heads over to check on Ventress. And Lena finds Ventress outside looking through some maps. And Ventress shows Lena where the lighthouse is and that they have to head there. And not happy about the whole thing, Lena asks Ventress why Kane volunteered for this kamikaze mission, and Ventress explains to her that it was more like a self-destructive thing. And then they hear some noise again, and they turn around ready to shoot, and upon hearing this sound, everyone wakes up and runs towards them, and Cassie gets taken away by a bear-like creature, and they all run over to save her, but it was too late. A few moments later, Anya and Josie suggest that they have enough footage, and one of them has already been taken away by a bear, and that they can't really last any longer here. And Ventress informs them that if they want to go, they can, but she is heading to the lighthouse. Anya then starts yelling at Lena for what they're going to do, as she believed that Lena was not really on their side. And Lena informs them that she also wants to go back, but the easier route is by going to the lighthouse, and they all agree with her. And the paramedics ask Lena why she lied to the girls, and she said that she had no clue about what was going on, and that Ventress was the one that made the decision and she just followed her. And in the morning, they walk toward the forest and find Cassie's boots, and Lena claims that she might still be alive, and as she heads in search for her, Anya asks to join her, but she refuses and she goes alone. And Lena ends up finding Cassie's dead body, and she goes back in disappointment. I mean, it's pretty difficult to survive a bear attack, so yeah. Anyways, after she informs everyone that she's dead, they resume their journey to the lighthouse. And after reaching a place close to the lighthouse, they decide to camp there. And they find plants that have grown in the shape of a human body, and Lena and Josie try to investigate it. Josie informs them that the signal is not blocked but is scrambled, and also explains to them that the Shimmer is like a prism that refracts everything. And they head to this abandoned house and get ready to sleep there. And in the middle of the night, Anya wakes up and does her research on her microscope, and Lena and Dan were having an affair with her husband, but she stops it because Kane has found out, and she kicks Dan out of the house. And Anya points a gun at Lena, waking her up, and a few moments later, everyone is tied to a chair and their mouth is covered with tape. And Anya has found Lena's necklace that had the picture of Kane, so she now thinks that Lena and Ventress had something to do with Cassie's death. And she tells them that she sees her hand and fingertips moving, and she picks up a knife ready to cut them off. But before she was able to do that, she hears a voice that screamed, "Help me!" And not believing Lena when she said that Cassie was dead, she runs outside the house with a gun in her hand, and a few moments later, a bloody bear comes inside, and as terrified as they were, they try very hard not to react to it and make any sound when it started to get close to them. But it ends up biting Josie by the shoulders and throwing her to the ground, ready to kill her, and Anya comes back and shoots it, and it stops it with Josie and it jumps on her. And the girls, who are now terrified and crying, all try to unite to stop the bear, but at this point it's already killed Anya. And covering Anya's body with sheets, they go to Ventress, who is getting ready to leave, and she informs them that she's going to finish what others started. The next morning, Josie sits in the forest and Lena follows her, and she says that she doesn't want to be part of this anymore. And Lena tries to follow her, but she just disappears. The paramedics allow her to go on and tell them what happened, and crying and mourning for losing all of them, she makes her way to the lighthouse. And Lena finds a camera and a burnt body next to a wall, and after seeing the footage, she finds out that Kane tried to off himself. and she hears some noise through the hole and follows it, and then she sees Ventress and she informs her that what they're looking for is in her body and that their bodies will get smaller and smaller, and that's when she spits fire and breaks into small cells. And the Shimmer becomes stronger by taking away all their DNA and feeding on it. And Lena runs out of the hole, but the Shimmer is already there trying to kill her. And Lena didn't realize that it was imitating her every move until she looked carefully. And picking up a dynamite, Lena hands it to the alien and runs outside of the lighthouse. And Lena then watches the whole place burn to the ground. And she informs the paramedics that it was an alien who came to make some changes and not just destroy anything. And Lena then goes to the isolation where Kane was kept, and she realizes that it's not her Kane. And as they hug, we see the Shimmer present in both their eyes. And that is how the movie comes to its conclusion. I hope you guys enjoyed our recap. I'll see you guys on the next one. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, like the video, and most of all, leave a comment. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.